Okay, so last night I worked on putting this cover together and ended up, I should have trusted my instinct to begin with. And while I love this flap and I want this, but this ended up needing to be glued to a piece of watercolor paper to reinforce it because it was so flimsy. And then I ended up gluing that down to the vintage paper. I put the fabric underneath, so this is now my cover, like this. I didn't need to do the tape here that I did to reinforce, so I'm sad about that. Not looking exactly how I want it to. But if you turn it the right way, you don't really see the tape too much. So, lesson learned there is listen to my instincts on that. Okay, so now the inside cover, I have this pile of goodies that I have been collecting forever, and I just like how everything kind of comes together with it. And that's basically the color palette for this book, for this journal. I'm still building it as I go, but I'm really loving like the purples and the pinks and the black and white and like the grays. And I have this beautiful image of a window. And so I was just sitting here kind of looking at my options. And I thought, well, I'm gonna cut that out and put that on the back of this page. I'm gonna bring these down and glue them. Let's do that first so that can dry. Where's my palette knife here? Okay. It's gonna give it a little bit of glue to hold it down. I am leaving the purple to overhang. I like that loose edge there. I don't mind that I have strings and things hanging around loose. In fact, I'd like this one like kind of sticking out and not attached underneath the glue or the collage. Okay, there's that. Now there's a story I'd like to share with this collage. And it's amazing how just to gather the things that inspire you or that you like, and you might not know why. I also think I'm going to make this a deckled edge, not a cut edge. Grab my ruler. Okay. Grab the things that inspire you, collect them, even if you don't know why. Because eventually it's going to come together and it's going to tell you something. It's going to share something with you that you didn't maybe realize. A story, a memory, something that might bring you joy. I think this copied crooked, but obviously I'm not going for perfect. It's the best way to rip this, like this. Okay. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that in just a second. Okay, I have my deckled edges on this. Okay, and I'm going to glue this. I'm just going to tape this one down. I didn't do that edge. I need to do that edge, don't I? Okay, let's put this here. It's a super thin tear, but just hold it close on the ruler. There we go. That is better. Much better. Okay. This page is heavy, given all the glue that I used. It's like almost moist. So I don't want to put any more glue on here. I'm going to use the tape runner. And I'm going to have this facing in. What I love about this image is my grandma used to tell me that she loved to drive around in the evenings and look into people's windows, like if they were sitting at their table having dinner or whatever, they were doing stuff as a family, and she loved that. And of course you have to remember, this is like, I don't even know, the 1920s. I mean, she was a kid, so probably in like the 1920s. So just imagine that time period and what the cars look like and what the homes look like, and you know, the windows and just the whole Norman Rockwell feel to all of it. So anyways, I love this image, and I've had this for years, and I just kind of been hanging on to it and wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with it. And then I made this collage years ago. I don't even know. That is not my face. I don't know where that came from, but I loved her. I had these letters I had collected from a long time ago, and I made this collage. And I love like the trees in the the wilderness, and you know, the old vintage music, and then there's the word joy. This is my middle name, and I have this woman like peeking through all of the gray and the woods and the wilderness, so to speak. So you have grandma, and you have this, and I think that they go very well together for me, and they're telling a story for me. And I think I'm going to, looking at this now, I'm going to get a piece of like vintage paper and put that behind to kind of tie it all together. Okay, I went to my vintage paper bin and found these old hymns, and so this one is perfect to help complete the story that I have going on here. But I do want more vintage showing through around the edges, so I am going to use my glue stick. Do I do that? And put this over here so that I don't cover. Now I think we could do something like this. Oopsie. I kind of like this because you can see parts of the song. So like it's being sung all throughout this. Just have to make like edges here. Okay, I think I like those like that. Copyright 1904. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I suppose I could put some of this one here. Do I have any more of those? Hi, Boo. How's you? Okay, I found another piece of vintage paper I'm gonna put down to help just build some texture behind everything. And since I'm using the vintage papers, I am going to use my glue stick. Can you see Boo Boo? There is a boo right here. Show your tail. Boo Boo's helping me work this morning. Okay, I'm definitely gonna want to get around the edges to help reinforce this down. I'm kind of being gentle because of the paper. It's fragile. Fragile. Taking care to kind of get in the crease here so it looks like it's always been. And I missed a little spot right here. And I don't want to like pull back the vintage paper. All right, now I want to cover this spot here. So I'm going to glue this down. Try as you might, there's just nothing like the vintage patina. Like if you wanted to like duplicate it, you know, make your own vintage papers, which I have done with like tea or walnut ink or even coffee, but there's just something about this color that really is quite possible to replicate. Okay, I'm not even sure how much of that's going to show, but then I have blue ink right there. That's funny. All right, now back to God will take care of you. This is probably the thickest cover of a book I've ever done, like the front cover and then the inside back page. That's funny. I do like doing the purple glue stick, then you can see where I'm gluing. Not that that really matters, but it was all that they had at the store when I needed glue sticks desperately. Okay. Now, then, God will take care of you. Him. Grandma's childhood stories and beautiful memory I have of her telling me these stories. was just talking about this the other day with somebody about God's love and protection over me when I was a kid. And so this is just very, I'll say serendipitous. Whatever. Faithful, soulful, beautiful. I kind of like, now it's a matter of, I was just going to center it all. But I kind of like seeing the window here, you know, as part of, instead of it just knowing it's a window. And in fact, I could do this and continue it onto the next page even more. Something like that. It bugs my brain. I want to center it because that's what I feel would look the best. Okay. I'll just do that so that this flower pot can show. Okay, so I think this is how I'm going to leave it, like this, and then I can journal over here. So again, I probably should just use the glue stick so that I get this adhered well. And I'm not writing on it, so I don't like to use a glue stick under images that I'm gonna write on. It just doesn't go well. They tend to be soft. Even when the glue dries, it just, the writing just doesn't go as good as it could. Alrighty. So I'm gonna move it here. I wanna make sure I can see the bottom line of text and then also the top. Where's my straight edge? And then here I do have on the back of this collage, I wrote Serendipitous Joy. I did it in February of 21. Pretty cool. And she's heavy. It's heavy, but I'm gonna try using the tape runner. How this goes. Okay. I am also, like, I love the side of the house kind of showing over here, kind of like a foundation. Okay. So it's inside cover. There we go. The journey is the destination. And we have that.